My 2.5-year-old son is potty trained, yes! And it only took me 2 weeks. Now, I have to be honest, there were some moments where I'm like, let's just abandon ship because this isn't working, he's not getting it, I'm not getting it. But I persevered, I got through it, and we were successful. So in this video, I want to share with you 12 tips I learned along the way. Tip number 1, get your child and house ready. It's really important to tell your child early that you're going to start potty training, because the last thing you want to do is make this like a surprise attack and they're like, what's going on? So I started like 2 weeks before I even was going to potty train. I told Griffin, we're going to get potty trained. I got him little books that I would read to him that were about little children that were loving being potty trained. We also picked out his potties. We had one upstairs, one downstairs, so it made it really easy. We also picked out 20 pairs of underwear because I didn't want to have lots of accidents and have to be dealing with laundry throughout the week. But that was really fun because I got Griffin involved. He picked out his favorite ones with the dinosaurs and the astronauts on them. There'll be links in the video description below on all of these resources. But again, the more you can bring them in, get them part of it, build that excitement, I think the better your success and luck will be throughout the whole process. The other thing is you want to be sure you roll up any rugs. If you have carpeting, you could put down tarps because there probably are going to be some accidents. And you just want to be sure you're not like ruining your house or getting aggravated because they're soiling things in the process. And then finally, you want to clear your schedule for at least a week. Just kind of hang local, stay near your house. I mean, certainly you could go to the park or something, but you just want to keep your schedule really simple as you're focusing on potty training. Tip number 2, find out what really motivates them. Now this is huge. Now of course in an ideal world you would love for your child just to naturally want to be potty trained because it's a natural stage of development, but that just wasn't my experience. I needed to bribe him. I needed to give him some momentum, some excitement, and some motivation to want to use the potty. So at first what I did is I got healthy treats because I'm personally motivated by food. So I got him these like fruit-flavored lollipops and goji berries and little dark chocolate pieces and all this kind of stuff. And every time he went potty, I'm like, okay, Griffin, you get a little treat. So he'd go and pick one out and he'd like suck on the lollipop after like 2 minutes, be bored and put it down, and he could care less. And those first couple days, he literally had like 3 or 4 accidents a day. I'm like, this is a disaster. This isn't working. But then I finally got it. I'm like, you know what? Food does not motivate my child. It never has. So instead what I did is I got him in the car, we went to the toy store, and he got to pick out dinosaurs and Legos and Play-Doh and all this stuff that he's really excited about. We came home, I put it in a big basket, and then every time he went potty, I said, Griffin, you get to pick out a toy. And he would pick out a toy. And then the next time he went to the potty, he got to pick out another one. And I am telling you, once I did that, he never had another accident that week. He was uber motivated. In fact, he would go to be like, Mom, I want potty, I want potty. I'd go and look and there'd be like 2 drops of liquid in there. I'm like, that doesn't really count, honey. Let's try it again. And the thing you can do too is at the end of the day, I just put all those toys back into the basket and we just start anew the next day. Tip 3, put them on the toilet often. As much as we want to teach them the urge right from the get-go and that they should know intuitively, that's just not the way it works. So it's really important to just put them on the toilet very often. So at the very beginning, I would put them on every 15 minutes. Might sound like overkill, but that way he was getting to the habit, the routine, and actually practicing peeing and pooping on the toilet. Especially after meals, I found that was a really, really important time to get them on the toilet really fast. Finally, some parents actually get these little potty watches, and again, I'll put a link in the video description below, but they're actually little like reminders that go off every so often to remind you to put the kid on the potty. Tip 4, praise them, but not too much. Of course, we always want to praise our children when it's a job well done, but I found if I made too big of a deal, if Griffin went pee-pee or poopy in the toilet, then he'd kind of look at me weird and be like, ooh, something's, you're a little bit too attached to me doing this, and maybe I could use this to manipulate or, punish you and that sort of thing. So I just kind of try to be like, hey, didn't that feel great to go potty in your own potty? Or look at how great you did right there. Now you can put it in the toilet and just make it again kind of like boosting his esteem, but also honoring that this is appropriate and this is where you should be doing and this is part of your progress as a child. Tip 5, if they have an accident, acknowledge it, learn from it, and move on. Almost all kids are going to have accidents. It just happens. Even now, Griffin, he's been potty trained for a while, he still will occasionally have an accident. But what I do is just stop for a moment, we acknowledge it. So it's not just about brushing it over completely. We talk about where does potty belong, and he would say in the potty, or where does pee-pee belong, in the potty, and then we move on. You know, I don't harp on it, I don't shame them, I don't criticize them, I don't make it a big deal, but it is important to kind of talk to them about where potty belongs. Tip 6, make it fun. Now Griffin, I have to be honest, just having those fun toys as a reward, that was enough for him. But some kids need a little extra oomph, a little extra excitement. So some things you can do is make up a potty song. There's actually potty songs that are already pre-recorded. Again, I'll have a link in the video description below that you can put on and play with your kid. You can read stories to your child when they're on the potty. Some kids, or some parents put Cheerios into the potty for little boys, and so they can actually aim when they go pee-pee and try to hit the Cheerios. Other parents will put food dye into the toilet bowl water because it makes it fun, like, oh, I'm gonna go potty into a purple toilet or a pink one or a red one. So use your imagination. You can even come up with a little potty dance, whatever works for you and your kid, but keep it fun. Tip number 7, if you're having trouble with the number 2, you might have to get a little creative. Now, many kids will do great with peeing. I mean, they'll get it down, but the number 2 is terrifying on the potty. They just can't handle it. They just want to do it in their diaper. So if that's the case, you're going to have to dig a little deeper and get a little bit more creative and just try to understand your child more. So something you can do is when you're having kind of a cuddling moment with your child or just a moment totally away from the potty, ask them, what the fear is about or why they're concerned about pooping in the potty. So try to get underneath what the core issue is. Now, for some children, they literally feel like they're going to lose a part of their body because they feel like the poo is almost like an attachment or an extension of them. So what one mom did is she actually got an anatomy book and showed him the whole process and how it worked in the stomach and built up and then went out of the body and how that this was good and that this was waste. And right after that, he never had an issue again. Some other problems with pooping is some kids just get impatient. They don't want to have to mess with having to sit down and wait, 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever it is. So have them bring toys into the potty with them. They can bring books. You can read them a book. You can put on a little video, whatever works to get them to sit and be patient and let themselves actually do number 2. Another great tip is have a friend come over that's potty trained, like another little toddler who knows how to do it, and just spend the day with this kid, have the kids just be together. And there's nothing more powerful than peer pressure. So if they see that other toddler going number 2, then they can think, hey, I can do that. And it's a great idea. It's a great tool. And then finally, some parents, it's like if mom keeps working it with the child, trying to get them to go poo, and it's just not working, maybe have dad step in. Sometimes it's just like a change of scenery, a different personality, a different kind of tactic, and that will do the trick. Tip number 8, consider a naked weekend. And no, I'm not talking about your honeymoon. I'm talking about you and your whole family letting your child be naked the whole entire weekend and just be in your house. Now, if it's summer, you can also have them be outside, but parents have great success with this because children are less apt to have a lot of mistakes and accidents if they can actually see the pee or the poo coming out of their bodies. They want naturally to have a place to contain it. So whether it's in their pants or their underwear or their diaper, if they're naked and they don't have any of those little crutches, they're more apt to use the potty. So give it a try if nothing else is working. Tip number 9, start teaching them about wiping and washing hands. Now for some kids, this is like motivation enough. After they go potty, you can start teaching them how to wipe themselves. Now obviously you're going to probably have to assist in that area for quite some time, but it just gets them started and really learning the full package of being potty trained. Also, get a little footstool, let them get up on the ladder and wash their own hands. Kids love water and they love the sudsy soap, and sometimes that is motivation enough to get them to be potty trained. So after they go to the bathroom, have them wash their hands, let them towel it dry, and it just makes it a fun part of the process. Tip number 10, make them comfortable in public. Now some kids are terrified of public restrooms. They do great at home, but get them out in the public and they're like, ah. Now some of it's because those automatic flushers, those can be really loud and kind of scary, almost like they're going to suck your child down with them. So what you can do is take a little Post-it note and actually put it in front of the sensor, and it just blocks that whole thing so the toilet literally will not flush, and you can just deal with that once your child leaves the stall. Another thing you can do is if the seat is too big and kind of overwhelming, is just get a little porta potty kind of thing. There's something like a little handle. It's just a seat that's really easy to take with you places. Again, I'll put a link in the video description below. Or you can get a fun toilet seat cover with like little cartoon characters or little animals on it, which just again makes it kind of private for them and kind of their own little toilet. Tip number 11, be flexible with naps and nighttime. Now for some parents, they want to potty train and they want to do it 100%, and so they're never going back to diapers. For me, I did it about more like 90%. So at nap time and at nighttime, I put Griffin in a diaper. And that's because he's still in a crib and doesn't have the ability to get up out of bed by himself and use the restroom. And frankly, I value my sleep, especially because I'm pregnant. I just love to get my sleep and I don't want to be getting up because he's got to go potty. Now, having said all of that, Griffin, I would say 90% of the time when he gets up from naps, his diaper is bone dry. And I would say probably 75 to 80% of the time when he gets up in the morning, his diaper is dry. So my point is, it doesn't always have to be 100%. I feel like my child is still really understanding bladder control and the whole process of potty training while still wearing a diaper during nap and bedtime. Tip 12, be patient and try again. Now, I have to be honest, if you've tried potty training several different times and it hasn't worked, it can be frustrating. But just know this, your child will be potty trained one day. It will happen. Every child has their own unique timetable. The best that we can do as parents is encourage it, is to teach it, and to hope for the best. Also, something to keep in mind is just think about other life changes. So if your child is starting preschool, if he's moving or if he's expecting a sibling and you're trying to potty train on top of that, it might be a bit too much, a bit too fast. So try to kind of segment out your big changes as best as you can. It might help make the whole process go easier. So good luck, Mama and Papa, on your potty training journey. Now, if you're wondering when is the right time to start potty training, well, I did a whole video on that, and there's 7 signs that it's time, and the link is in the video description below, so be sure to check it out. And would love to hear from all of you. What tips and tricks worked for you while you were potty training your child? How long did it take you? What age was your child potty trained? Share with us in the comments below, and thanks as always for tuning in.